like to go ahead and get this meeting started. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And we will, if you all mind, let's all stand up and do the pledge. Councilman Brizzi, could you please lead us into the pledge?
Already begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
If anyone would like to have an opportunity to speak on any item that is not on the agenda, please fill out a slip, hand it to the nice lady here by Ben, so we can give you an opportunity to speak. Other than that, if we could please get a roll call.
Chair Algauer,
Here. 10
Vice-
minutes late.
Vice Chair Markarian,
Here.
Commissioner Beck,
Here.
Commissioner Brizzi,
Here.
Commissioner Hicks,
Okay, I think we got it now.
Commissioner Rexstad, and Commissioner Wolf. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Consent agenda. We have the minutes from the November 16th meeting that I was not present. Do we have quorum of 3 of them voting for this?
We don't have a quorum for that, so we'll have to continue these minutes to
Okay.
the next scheduled plan.
So we will continue that item and vote on it at our next meeting. So item number 2 is this, before we get into the presentation of item number 2, are we supposed to have read this?
The attachment has been provided out. I'll provide a brief summary of the comments made in that. I do want to note, despite the 279 pages that were included, only the first few pages were in regards to this project. The rest of it was a traffic or air quality kind of analysis for a project in Los Angeles County, and then the resumes of the people that prepared that analysis. So in terms of the content of that entire letter, only a small portion of it is actually germane to the project that is at hand today.
Okay, with that, let us get staff presentation on item number 2.
All right, and then to clarify, we are opening the public hearing.
Yes.
All right, before use case number 21-026, a conditional use permit and development agreement for the phased development of a commercial center. It's comprised of a fuel station that includes a 9,000 square foot building, which is comprised of a convenience store, quick service restaurant, and office space. It does include a fuel canopy with 16 fuel dispensers and a car wash. And then the last part of that project is a 66-room hotel with a rooftop bar and restaurant. This is located at 32788 Oakland Road. The property itself is located within the city's service commercial land use district. It is an approximately 3.41 acre site at Oakland in Colorado. As part of the project, it does also include some surplus land, some surplus right-of-way that is adjoining that project to essentially the south or the northeast. That will be discussed in a little bit. And then there is one single-family residence that's proposed to be demolished that is not a historic structure. Now, conditional use permit, as I mentioned, is for a phased development project. It does consist of 2 different land use components. One is the hotel project of 66 rooms and the restaurant. And then the fuel station project, which would be the first phase of development, which includes the convenience store, the fuel pumps, the car wash, and then some 5 vacuum stalls as well. And then this is the site plan for the conditional use permit available for the plan commissioners. This right here delineates the convenience store and the quick service restaurant and office space, the fuelings, canopy area along here, entry to Oakland Road from Colorado, which is listed in the city's capital improvement plan in the DIF program for a signalized intersection, the car wash, and then over here is the second phase development, which is for the hotel. And then there's also a exit point for the site over here to the east of Colorado Street, and then there's also another entrance and exit west of Colorado. As part of the site grading, if you're familiar with the area, it is a little bit of a hole where it is based on the grade elevation of Oakland Road to where that site is. And so the project does propose to level the pad so that the buildings are at grade with Oakland Road. And so this does show kind of the grade elevation slope and the retaining walls that would be built along the channel to create that level pad area for the development and then also facilitate the drainage to the northeast portion of the site. Right now, the project applicant is working through kind of the construction level plans and architecture review. They have not submitted a formal architecture package for tonight's approval, but did provide staff for the Plan Commission some renderings showing what their intent is for the design of the building. So to the left is the hotel project, and then to the right is the fuel station and convenience store building. Definitely an attractive mix of materials and colors and articulation. And so they're working through those construction, the architectural package submittal and landscape plans, and that will be forthcoming at a later date for Plan Commission review. As I mentioned as well, the project does include a portion of surplus land along kind of the frontage of Oakland Road and then to the east of the site. This parcel or this area itself is essentially accessed right away from when the city was acquiring properties for the construction of Oakland Road, and so this is kind of just a sliver that has remained. The applicant is proposing to acquire that to support the project, and the city has also already deemed the property as surplus land and also completed the review through HCD, Housing and Community Development, for that land as well, for the ability for the city to sell that land for the development of the property. Now, another component of the project, which is what triggers the city council review of the project, is a development agreement. This development agreement is between the city and the applicant, SG Opal Inc., and sets the expectations for the development. One thing that's important as part of the development agreement is provisions for the TOT or the transit occupancy tax for that, and is consistent with other projects such as the La Quinta Hotel. So the provisions that is part of this agreement is similar to what the city has required for other projects of the same nature. And then as part of the project review, no comments were received during the project review period with the city. However, a letter was received subsequent to that review from the Mitchell-Sy Law firm requesting notice of all hearings. And then as part of the project, we did prepare a mitigated negative declaration for the project. As part of it, the city's consultants did prepare a few technical reports, including air quality, GHG, energy analysis, a noise study, and then as well, there was a line of sight analysis for the driveway locations as you go around that curve of Oakland Road. That was reviewed for a period between November 8th of last year and November 29th. No public comments were received. Do want to note as well that the project itself does stream out of the city's VMT analysis as required by the city's traffic impact analysis guidelines. And then I do want to note, as provided and as referenced by Vice Chair Markarian, there was a 279-page document that was received today regarding comments on the mitigative negative declaration. I do want to go through the points for the Plan Commission and address each of the topics just to memorialize in the record. The first topic was the letter identified some of the benefits related to local hire and utilizing kind of a local labor force. I do want to note that the city does include conditions of approval. That is that developers in the city should solicit bids from local contractors, and then they provide a report of that at the end of the project to show that they've made an effort to hire locally. Second one was in regards to COVID protocols for development. I do want to note that contractors are subject to OSHA requirements, and so those provisions would apply for the project. And then the last ones were in regards to environmental analysis, including air quality impacts. They noted that, I do want to note that in their comments of the air quality impacts, operational impacts were included in the MND. They said that that wasn't, but they were listed in it and also in the technical report. And then the impacts themselves for both construction level and operational levels were below the South Coast Air Quality Management District thresholds. They did note some concerns about the traffic impacts. I do want to note as well, they essentially said they recognize that the project screens out of the VMT analysis, but we should have done one anyways. I do want to note that the VMT guideline specifically calls out for local serving retail uses, less than 50,000 square feet. So that quick service retail, and then as well as hotels that are non-resort are screened out from the city's traffic impact analysis guidelines. I also want to note as part of the traffic studies or the traffic analysis for the line of sight as well as noise and air quality did include the ITE trip generation rates as part of the standard modeling for those. And so those were captured as part of the analysis. And then the last one is, as part of the level of service discussion, is that a traffic signal is proposed and planned already for Oakland Road and Colorado Street. And so that would address the traffic flow to and from the site. They also provide some comments about the greenhouse gas impacts. I do want to note again that the assessment for greenhouse gas did include the trips generated during operation and construction, and they were again below the South Coast Air Quality Management District thresholds. They again also had questions about energy impacts. The project itself will be subject to the most current Title 24 standards, which is the most kind of stringent standards anywhere else in the country. And then the hotel itself would reduce the travel for guests. As you know, we don't have a lot of accommodations in the city. We just need to make sure we're talking into the microphone as part of that. The hotel itself would reduce travel for guests. As you know, the city of Yucaipa doesn't have a lot of lodging in here, so if a resident or a family member is coming in to visit for the holidays, for example, they're going to be driving to Redlands or further to essentially then commute into the city, and so this would address that as well. And then kind of the last two components, one is they identified that this project was inconsistent with the city's general plan, but didn't provide specificity. But I do want to note that this is a service-oriented commercial center in the city's service commercial land use district. And so in terms of the uses proposed, it is consistent with both the general plan and zoning requirements. And then they did request that the project would be subject to recirculation. However, no information was provided in their comment letter that would require circulation of that environmental document. And so that's kind of a summary of that comment letter and what points they raised. And then, as I mentioned, it did include an air quality study for a project in Los Angeles County. And so with that, staff does recommend that the Plan Commission conduct a public hearing, review the project, and then recommend to City Council that they approve the project, which includes that development agreement. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And then the project applicant is also here.
A question for me now, the traffic. I mean, we're on a 2-lane road right there now, aren't we?
Currently, Oakland Road fronting the site is 4 lanes, 2 in each direction and a continuous center turn lane, yeah.
So all that commercial isn't going to impact that traffic on the Oakland Road there?
Well, Oakland Road is classified as an arterial, so based on our general plan, it does have the capacity to accommodate the traffic that would be generated by the land use.
Okay. You say so, I believe everything you tell me.
I have more general questions. So this 279-page letter that Ronald Young, attorneys for Southwest Mountains States Regional Council of Carpenters, this is a union attorney?
I believe that they are representing union, yes.
A union, okay. And all of these things that they're claiming that this is in violation of the state planning and zoning laws as well as the city's general plan, and you already discussed how this is not in violation, but have we had any conversations with this gentleman, or you just decided to give us a 279-page thing as a gift today?
No conversations with this entity before on this project, other than they have submitted a public records request before that the city did fulfill.
Okay, so no, they haven't reached to the city. They haven't reached out to the city. They haven't reached out to the developers, other than the public records request and this 279-page letter.
And then also the request to be notified of any hearings, which they subsequently were.
Okay. All right, and then there's this two-pager from California Renters Legal Advocacy and Education Fund.
That is for another item on today's agenda, so not germane to this
Okay,
particular
I
project.
just wanted to clarify. All right. And then a clarification on this proposed ordinance under item number 2. If you can explain, what is this ordinance going to do that other projects that we see that don't have these ordinances? This is basically to enter into an agreement with the city of Yucaipa?
Yeah, so this project, as part of certain development projects, they can elect to enter into a development agreement, which sets a little bit more specificity on expectations for the development of a project. So there's been a few that the Planning Commission has reviewed, including the one for Woodside Homes, which was the Serrano Lakes development project, as well as the EMC, the electronic messaging centers included those. And so the ordinance is how we formally adopt that development agreement. And then as part of the development agreement itself, it's more the land use side is what the Planning Commission's looking at for consistency with the project. And then the deal points themselves in the DA are part of City Council's approval.
Okay, and basically, what is this agreement saying? What are they gonna give the city? What is the city gonna give them?
So it does include kind of the processing and memorialization of the project, and then it also includes an escalation of the TOT rate, which is consistent with other kind of lodging type projects that are currently under construction.
Got it. Did we have something like this for the other hotel that's going behind the Arco off of Oak Glen and the freeway?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay. All right, that's all I have at this time.
Okay, with that, did the applicant want? wait,
Mr.
I'm
Chairman,
sorry,
may
I'm
I?
sorry, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, could you discuss the traffic controls that are going to be required, including a possibility of a light at Colorado and Oak Glen? And also, is the road there developed to its maximum width, or is this project going to require left turn lanes and additional widening of Oak Glen Road through that?
Sure. Oakland Road is widened to its ultimate configuration. As I mentioned earlier, it is classified as an arterial street, and Colorado, which is across the street, is also it's a collector street, so it is widened to its ultimate configuration of 2 lanes, one in each direction. And as Mr. Matlock mentioned, in the city's capital improvement program, we do have a project that includes the signalization of that 3-way intersection. And as part of this project, the applicant is proposing the 4th leg of that intersection to be the main driveway entrance to this site. And the development agreement that is included as part of this application does identify that the city will complete the installation of the traffic signal by a certain date to support the project. And we haven't identified any specific right turn pockets or anything into this site, since it is going to be a signalized intersection similar to other intersections in the city. And what still remains to be determined is whether, when the design of the signal is completed, what the phasing will be to accommodate the ingress and egress from the site. So all of that is being considered as part of the traffic signal design and the intersection improvements. And by that, I mean the 4th approach will be designed by the applicant in close coordination with the city to make sure that it is going to work effectively when it's signalized in the future.
And I do want to add as well, so as Fermin pointed out, that Oakland Road itself has been widened to its ultimate configuration. The project will be required to complete the pedestrian-related improvements along their frontage as required under the city's general plan. And then in addition to this driveway, there'll be an exit over here, as well as kind of 2 entrances for the hotel further down. But the primary entrance and exit would be at that signalized intersection at Colorado.
So there will be an entrance from Colorado and Oakland to the whole project?
That is correct.
One other question. I know the wash is right behind there. This project won't impact, they won't have to do any other improvements or anything to the wash.
No, no.
Okay. And then it also, on that northeast boundary, is that the boundary for the city's park? Or is there some space in between where the park boundary is going to be?
There is some space in between this project and the park boundary.
Thank you.
You good, Mark? You good? Okay.
I'm good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I have one other question for me. When they do a traffic study, or you're doing a traffic study, do you consult the sheriff's department whether a Pacific Street is notably high speed? And I understood that little S section right there, is kind of out of control on speeding. I mean, is that something that you look at, or?
So the engineering and speed survey that the city is required to complete every 5 years as part of the California Vehicle Code requirement, that determines the posted speed limit for Oakland Road, and that speed limit is used in the analysis for not only the traffic study, but also the design of the traffic signal. And then the results of that, whether it's a change in the speed limit or what have you, that is forwarded to the police department for enforcement.
Okay, well, let's just move on. And the applicant wish to make a presentation?
I think
Oh.
he's good.
Okay, with that, we'll close.
Oh, no, there's public comment, so we,
Oh, we got public comments. I'm sorry about that. We're moving along here.
Juan Olmedo, please.
Thank you, sir. Can you state your name and records, the next mic, for the record, please?
Good evening. My name is Juan Olmedo. I'm a representative of the Southwest Mountain States Regional Council of Carpenters, where we represent 5,800 members here in San Bernardino County. A good portion of them live in the local area, recreate, and work and recreate in the vicinity of the project. We believe that we will be impacted by the environmental impacts of this project. The city should require the project to be built with contractors that will hire locally, pay prevailing wage, and utilize apprentices from state-certified apprenticeship training programs. Workforce requirements reduce construction-related environmental impacts while benefiting the local economy and workforce development. In a recent 2020 report titled Putting California on the High Road, a Job and Climate Action Plan for 2030 California Workforce Development Board conducted that investments in growing, diversifying, and upskilling California workforce can positively affect returns and climate mitigation effort.
You got it.
The South Coast Air Quality Management District recently found the local hire requirements can result in air pollution reductions. Recently, the state of California reiterated its commitment toward encouraging workforce development and housing affordability through the Affordable Housing and High Road Jobs Act of 2022, otherwise known as Assembly Bill number 2011, which requires projects pay workers a prevailing wage and hire from state-certified apprenticeship programs for project meeting certain sittings, affordability, and development standards. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, can I get your name again?
Juan Olmedo.
Juan?
Juan, and the last name is Olmedo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ben? Any others?
nope, that concludes public comments received on this item.
Okay, did the applicant wish to rebuttal any of that? No?
I think we're good.
Okay, we're good. Let's just close the public hearing at this time. And we'll move to discussion amongst us commissioners. Commissioners, do we have anything? Mark, we have anything?
Yeah, I do. I have to divulge a potential conflict, just for the record. I don't think it precludes me from participating in this action for these reasons. My residence is north of here. I Google mapped it from the primary location, and it's 0.7 miles, so it's in excess of 500 feet away. You've got, in addition, the buffer of the county's future park there at the corner of Oakland Road and Avenue E. So again, this is my opinion, and others may have a different one. I don't think it has, this project would likely impact the residential values north of Avenue E. And then the action that the Planning Commission is taking is a recommendation to the City Council and not a final action. So this matter is going to go forward anyway. So for those reasons, I wanted to divulge that potential conflict, but I don't think it precludes my participating in the matter.
That is correct. As part of the review of the project, we did verify that your residence is outside of those limits.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, do you have anything to add?
I just wanted to clarify, the only thing we're doing here is, like Commissioner Brzee said, we're recommending to the city council to look at this and consider it. There is no architectural review or any of that stuff right now. They're just asking for the permission to move forward with the planning and development.
So the land use entitlement, if the development agreement was not part of the project, you guys would be the final acting body. But because it's referred to the city council as a result of the development agreement, you guys will still provide that land use kind of lens to it, and then the city council will consider that. But their focus, in some regards, will be more on the development agreement, since that's kind of in their purview. But certainly, any comments you have on the project can be relayed. But the site plan itself is being presented for formal approval, and then the architectural review will be forthcoming at a later date.
Okay, so once we approve this right now and recommend it for the city council approval, can they get the work started? Like, they can't start building
Well,
anything.
you would still have architectural review, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so kind of a few different stuff is the architectural review will be required for them to pull any building permits for the buildings themselves. Once this goes to city council, then they could, in theory, pull like their grading permits and other related stuff. We do allow at the city as well, any applicant that wants to submit plans before approval at a at-risk level, they can also do that way. If assuming that the project's approved as it's designed, then they have a jump on it, but then they also recognize that if the planning commission says, hey, we want to see this changed on it, then they also have to make that change as well.
So they can start grading and developing the land right now, but they're not gonna start any construction until they come back.
With architectural review, yes, that is correct.
All right, that was it.
Okay, thank you. Richard?
Nothing here.
Got nothing. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Can I ask one more question?
Yes, sir, you may.
And it has to do with, is this a speculative project, or do they have the ultimate end users in mind, or are the ultimate end users the funding source for this, or do we know?
So it is my understanding that the project itself is going to be labeled for the Chevron fuel station. I believe the applicant is working with 2 different hotel companies on the branding of that and working through that, but he has some degree of, I think, comfort on designing the project and making sure it would meet those performance requirements for that franchise.
Thank you.
Okay, I still think that traffic is could be an issue there, but I'm sure for me, it's definitely gonna be on top of that one. So anybody else? Any other commissioner, any motions?
I'll make a motion that we recommend that the city council consider on the item number 2, case number 21-026 for the CUP and a development agreement with the recommendations A through E.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have any other discussion? Seeing none. Can I have a roll call on this one, please? Yes.
Vice Chair Markarian.
Yes?
Commissioner Beck,
Yes.
Commissioner Brizzy,
Yes.
Okay, we have 4 yeses. Motion carries. Okay, with that, we'll just move on to item number 3, which is case number 21-168, a land use compliance review.
Can we do them both together, or we have to do them separately?
Technically, they are two separate projects, but as Maddie will discuss on the review of item number 4, is that it is very similar and will be a much more condensed discussion.
Got it.
So what do we,
Thank you, Honorable Chairman Algauer and Planning Commissioners. The applicant Uberis Inc. has submitted item number 3, case number 21-168, which is land use compliance review, special use permit, and architecture review. So a little bit of background and some previous project history relative to this site is that last year, the applicant had submitted to the Planning Department case number 21-115, which was the tentative parcel map 2420 to subdivide a 1.27 acre vacant single-family residential parcel into 2 lots. Parcel 1 would be configured as a 0.55 acre flag lot, and parcel 2, a 0.63 acre flag lot, which is the topic of this first presentation today. And I do want to note, as there is the tentative parcel map and procedures to finalize those new lot lines through the County of San Bernardino and the assessor, that condition of approval number 35 associated with this project requires that the tentative parcel map is to be recorded prior to building permit issuance, just to ensure that there is those 2 new parcels established. So the site is located west of Fremont Street and north of Bella Vista Road, and as I indicated, this is parcel 2, the 0.63 acre lot, and the zoning is single residential with a 20,000 square foot minimum lot size, which was considered as a part of that previous tentative parcel map approval last year, and surrounding land uses include other single-family residences. The parcel 2 boundary is indicated on the imagery on the screen and has the yellow star. And then the red dashed line indicates the proposed new lot line subject to that tentative parcel map recordation. So the site plan is before you on the screen. The applicant intends to develop both parcel 1 and parcel 2 with a single family residence, and then ADU structure, which is the topic of discussion for the special use permit. And the single-family residence proposed on parcel 2 would include 2,891 square feet of space, including an attached garage and covered patio. That would be subject to the standard building permit submittal process through the city's department. The ADU structure would feature 1,198 square feet of habitable space and an attached 604 square foot garage and 365 square foot porch area. That fits within all required setbacks. Additionally, similar to other projects of this nature that we've brought before the Planning Commission, the single-family residence would be required to be constructed and occupied prior to the ADU. The property would be accessed from a 24-foot wide access easement provided off of Fremont Street, which would serve both of the parcels. And then the floor plan is before you on the screen. I do want to point out that the ADU component, the land use of the ADU, is not subject to Planning Commission review and approval, but it's simply that the total structure footprint is 2,167 square feet, which is therefore subject to the provisions of the special use permit, as our municipal code requires those over 1,200 square feet, which are accessory structures, require Planning Commission review and approval. So really, it's just the additional garage and porch area added as an amenity to this unit, which are requiring the project be presented before you. The structure will feature a gabled concrete tile roof with a peak height of 17 feet and primarily consist of stucco material in a crystal white color and then some brown trim accents. Additionally, there's some detailing on the front elevation with a enhanced porch area that has veneer pillars. The applicant has provided some tentative elevations for the future single-family residence, which would be subject to the standard by right building permit process once that new lot line is established, and the colors and materials would match the detached structure and be validated through our review process in building plan check. Here's a photo of the existing site. The frontage would be improved with a drive approach to engineering city standard. And then project notices were sent to contiguous property owners and no responses were received. So it's staff's recommendation that the project is approved with recommendations A through D on the screen. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I have a question for you, Madeline. In here, you mentioned the this is for the ADU, but you mentioned 604 square feet for a garage and then 365 for the porch. That wouldn't be included in the square footage of the property or the house, would it?
So the ADU is within our city's maximum threshold of 1,200 square feet, which would have otherwise been a administrative level review by the planning department. But because the applicant has desired and proposed the addition of a garage amenity, which isn't required per state law, the structure's entire footprint is beyond 1,200 square feet and therefore is subject to your review and approval. So again, in situations like this that we've brought before the Planning Commission, the garage isn't necessarily something that is required, but could be seen as an attractive opportunity for future renters if that's their desire with the structure.
They can have a large garage with an ADU, can't they? You could have a 1,200 square foot garage, right? If you wanted to for an ADU.
Yeah, and so that would trigger if they're doing any detached structure that's over 1,200 square feet, automatically triggers Planning Commission review. And so they could build a 1,200 square foot garage or the 1,200 square foot ADU, and that in itself wouldn't trigger the special use permit, but you put them together, now you have a 2,400 square foot structure, and so then that does trigger that review as part of that.
As an additional point of clarity, similar to our other special use permit projects, the accessory structure is supposed to still remain subordinate to the primary use. So in this case, the applicant is trying to streamline their ultimate project build out and has submitted this proposal with tentative single-family residential renderings and kind of a tentative footprint there. But when we get those plans formally submitted through the building and safety process, we will ensure that that single-family residence footprint is larger than this accessory structure. And as you saw in the renderings, the single-family residence is proposed to be 2 stories and is expected to be larger than this accessory structure, which is a finding for Planning Commission's review and approval included in the staff report.
Is there a proportion that the house has to be larger than the ADU, or could it just be 2,168 square feet?
Similar to other projects, there isn't necessarily a proportion that I've seen, pretty much just that it's less than. We've had garages brought before Planning Commission that are 2,000 square feet, 3,000 square feet for properties that have large single-family residences, particularly in the custom home overlay. In this case, though, the ADU would be subject to development impact fees, as would the single-family residence, and consistent with state law, the proportional size of the ADU structure, which is approximately 1,200 square feet, would be relevant to what they're paying into our DIF program, as we can collect development impact fees that are proportional to the size of the existing structure. So if the ADU was a quarter of the size of the single-family residence, they'd pay a 25% chunk into the DIF program.
Got it.
Okay, thank you, Madeline. Okay, with that, did the applicant wish to
I think
say
I don't
something?
believe so.
We have applicants not here?
the applicant.
Oh, there she goes. Okay, all right. Could you please state your name and address for our records?
My name is Brandy Hickman. I live at 12419 13th Street in Yucaipa. Thank you guys for being here. I think Maddie did an amazing job at explaining it. I know that we could have detached the garage, but we'd rather, for aesthetic and use purposes have it attached. And plus, it's a good excuse to see you guys, so
Yeah, I'm
I
okay.
have no further comments.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for her? No? Okay. We have any public comments?
None on this item.
Oh, okay. With that, I guess we can close the public hearing and we can move to the commissioners. Do we have anything, Bart?
Move staff's recommendation.
Okay, good. Chris?
I would too. I just want to clarify, obviously, this is conditioned on the house being built first, right?
There is a condition included for the house to be occupied, but primarily it would be that the tentative parcel map records first in order to release that building permit. So there is a legitimate parcel established for parcel 2.
Okay.
I'm
good. Richard?
Chris asked my question.
Okay, I'm good. So do we have a motion or something here, gentlemen?
I'll move staff's recommendation.
I'll second.
Okay. Can we, okay, let's just have a roll call. I don't know.
All in favor?
Chair Algauer,
Yes.
Vice Chair Markarian,
Yes.
Commissioner Beck,
Yes.
and Commissioner Brizzy.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I think we got 4 yeses. We got an approval. Thank you. Go build your ADU. Okay, what do we have next on item 4?
I move to accept item number 4 because it's the same as item number 3,
So
other half.
We do have to open up the
Wait a
public
minute,
hearing.
we have
but
to still
Maddie
do
will
it.
provide a,
Have to still do a
tried.
public hearing.
I tried.
well,
I know.
she'll provide a very
I'll be
condensed.
expeditious. So this is item number 4, case number 21-169, another LUCR SUP ARC, the sister project to that which was previously presented. Same TPM considerations, previously approved. Same site location, except this is parcel 1, located closer towards Fremont Street. The same configuration with an ADU and a single-family residence would be proposed on parcel 1, which is the 0.55 acre parcel. Again, fits within all setback requirements and RS20M land use district standards. It's the identical floor plan proposed for this unit and the same elevations. So there's just one additional consideration that the planning department would have for this particular project to provide an alternative color scheme for this parcel, just given the proximity of the proposed project on future parcel 2. An example of this could be elements such as trim, just to give a little bit of a differentiation between the two sites and provide a kind of an aesthetic, unique kind of realm for this parcel. And then the same site. So it's same, no public comments. So it's staff's recommendation that you would approve the project with the same recommendations A through D with consideration for that additional condition of approval, which could be added by the Planning Commission and then validated again through the later building plan check process.
Thank you, Madeline. Very good. So I guess we'll still go right through it. Do we have the applicant, would she like to come forth again? No? Okay, so with that, we close up, we have any comments? Or any?
No public comments.
Right, let's just move to close the public hearings, and we move to the commissioners. And Chris, you have a motion?
To approve item number 4, case number 21-169, with a land use compliance review, special use permit, architectural review. What are recommendations A through D?
Thank you.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have 4 ayes. Motion carries. Thank you. Good luck. Okay, next item on the agenda is 22-131, a special use permit for the architectural review of that 1,440 square foot building.
1 second, I gotta upload the next.
Are we being mean to Chris or something? Oh,
Now, Christian will round us out for.
okay, all right. Just don't want to hurt the guy's feelings, you know.
He's waited with bated breath
forgot too.
to present.
So this is item number 5, which is a special use permit for a 1,440 square foot detached garage that is designed to match an existing single-family residence located at 34978 Goldstone Drive. The property is 1 acre in size and is within the RL1 Rural Living 1 acre minimum lot size land use district, and is also in the city's custom home overlay district. Surrounding land uses include open space to the north, which is in San Bernardino County jurisdiction, and then other single-family residences to the southeast and west. The site plan is before you on the screen and provides that the single-family residence meets all requirements of the custom home overlay district, as it is currently improved with a 3,161 square foot residence that also has an attached 696 square foot garage. So the 1,440 square foot garage associated with this special use permit is for additional storage space for the applicant's RV and other smaller vehicles and personal items. The elevations are before you on the screen and are designed to match the single-family residence. The structure features a gabled roof with 2 roll-up doors on the south or front elevation, and then an access door on the side. Generally has a 16-foot vertical clearance and then pitches towards the center, slightly higher with a peak height of 21.3 feet, and will be primarily comprised of stucco building material. And there's additional detailing of decorative stucco coin accents on the sides of that front elevation, which resemble and match the single-family residence, as you'll see on the following slide. So this is existing single-family residence. There is some nice tree cover and foliage at the front of the property, and then some additional vantage points. There's an existing access drive, which will provide ingress and egress to the garage proposed. And then project notices were sent to surrounding property owners. One response was received with setback-related questions on the distance from this proposed structure to their single-family residential property to the east. And so it was clarified by staff that the structure meets the custom home overlay requirement for a greater setback of 20 feet. And I have circled on the exhibit on the screen that it is actually 22.5 feet at the closest corner, and then towards the rear of the structure is almost 30 feet away from that property line of the neighbor. So it's staff's recommendation that the project is approved with recommendations A through D.
Okay, thank you, Madeline, as always, great project. Did the applicant wish to make a,
The applicant is not here tonight.
okay. Do we have any public comments?
No public comments.
Okay, let's just move right to close the public hearing. And we move to the commissioners. Anybody, commissioners, have anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to verify, is it 34978 Goldstone Drive or Lane? Or Street? Because I thought I looked it up as street.
Street.
Unless it was a different place I'm looking at.
Street,
Okay,
apologize for the,
no worries. I just wanted to make sure I was looking at the right property.
Good, good man, you're a good man.
Sometimes.
Okay, anybody else, anybody have any comments? Bart, anything?
Nothing, thank you.
Richard?
Nope.
Chris?
I will make a motion that we approve item number 5, case number 22-131, with the special use permit architectural review, and with the recommendations A through D.
Second.
We have a second by Richard. So with that, any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye?
Aye. 4 ayes. Project carries. Okay, we'll just move into our last item. We're saving it for the best for Mr. Christian.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman Algauer and Planning Commissioners. Today I bring before you item number 22-140, a conditional use permit for the continued development of 33 detached condominiums, also known as Willow Park, on 5.47 acres, that will utilize a previously approved one-lot subdivision. The site is located at 12742 5th Street. It is located within our RM72 land use district and was previously graded under previous cases number 04-107 as well as 16-081. And it is surrounded by single-family uses as well as a vacant lot to the north. A little bit of background on this, it was initially entitled under case number 04-107, a conditional use permit and tentative tract map for 31 condominiums. That was provided with a mitigated negative declaration. Subsequently, that expired in 2010 and was resubmitted in 2016 under 16-081 with 2 additional units for 33 total units. Since then, that also had a supplemental mitigated negative declaration. Subsequently, that further expired one more time, and so the applicant, Crestwood Communities, is here to hopefully see that to fruition. As you can see on the site map here, there has been some grading previously done, as well as some of the initial improvements, as well as curb, gutter, and the initial water delivery system. The site plan features 33 detached units around a looped circle designed to resemble a conventional single-family residence with private amenities on site, including a tot lot, and the condo map is still active and in the final stages of recordation. The phasing is proposed to be across 3 phases with 11 units per phase. The construction is expected to overlap for grading and pads, and the proposed conditions of approval ensure all necessary infrastructure will support the phasing. The elevations consist of 1- and 2-story homes with 3 to 4 bedrooms. These units range from 2,011 and to 2,984 square feet with 2 different styles, a Spanish style, which is elevation A, and a craftsman bungalow elevation, which is elevation B, with reverse elevations provided as well. Each of these includes a 2-car garage, and the elevations shown tonight were actually approved under case number 21-043. This is Plan 1. As you can see, the Spanish style includes a white stucco with stacked stone and Spanish style roofing materials, as well as wooden corbels. The craftsman style includes a lap siding with cobblestone facade and shutters on the windows. These elements are carried throughout for Plan number 2, which is a 2-story elevation, and the largest of the 3, which is Plan 3, which is shown here. The landscaping will be provided throughout with emphasis on entry points and points that are visible from the street, as you can see here, with the additional Willow Park sign to be evaluated tonight. It's a 44-inch tall entry monument sign. Some additional points on the landscaping. There's the typical landscaping shown on the top left, the tot lot landscaping, and then another view of the landscaping for the entry point. Through the project review, notices were sent to all neighbors within 300 feet of the project. 1 phone response was received regarding an incident where existing water systems had been flushed in an attempt to remove debris. The commenter wanted to ensure that there were no further issues regarding the water system, which will be supplemented with a secondary line in order to correct those issues, with the existing line to be used for firefighting purposes only. An additional public comment was received, I believe it was on Thursday, or was it yesterday? Reaffirming the Housing Accountability Act and highlighting some of the benefits of a single-family project for the community. The fiscal impact of this project, based on a 33-unit residential site on 5.47 acres, will generate $602,000 approximately in development impact fees, as shown above. Site photos here. As you can see, there is some rough grading on site, but that it has largely been overgrown with vegetation. Therefore, it is staff's recommendation tonight that you approve the conditional use permit and measures A through D above. The applicant is here tonight, as well as staff, to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Christian. One question, is there the parking, visitor parking, whatever, is it the street that they're using for that?
Yeah, so the parking for the development includes some of the striped spaces near the top lot, but then also the street's been designed to provide curb adjacent parking. And so based on the tabulation of those two, it does exceed the parking requirements for this project.
Well, how many curb parkings are there? I'm curious. I didn't count them. I mean,
didn't
you
count
got
them.
31 units. Let me ask you this, you got 31 units. How many visitor parkings are required?
It'd be 17 spaces.
What is it?
17 spaces.
Okay, good, okay. And I'm sure you have 17 there.
And that can be accommodated through the driveways as well. But yeah, there is parking here as well as, throughout the site.
And there's also parking on the street, right?
That's correct.
Okay, good, that's fine. Okay, with that, did the applicant wish to make a presentation? And if you could just state your name and address for our records, please, sir? Got it. Got
Good
it.
evening, Commission and staff. My name is Terry Kent, the owner of Crestwood Communities, the developer, 510 West Citrus Edge, Glendora, California. We're a four-generation family-owned business, privately held. We actually have a history here in Yucaipa of building about 300 homes during the 1990s, actually pre-city of Yucaipa when it was the San Bernardino County and then into the city. So we have been out in the area for a while. This project is owned by a San Bernardino County family. It's fully funded. It's not a speculative project. It will be built as soon as we clean up a few items here, this being one of them. The recognition of the map, which I understand is on the council agenda for Monday night. We'll record the final track map, and the building plans are approved and ready to build, subject, of course, to the CUP and so forth. Unfortunately, the owner missed the filing to have this extended last January with a simple letter asking for the CUP to be extended additional time, so that's why we're here tonight. They just not used to doing this type of stuff, so that's why we're back here before you tonight with this project that had been previously approved, and the project's gone through a couple owners, but like I say, this is fully funded and ready to build. And I'm just here to answer any questions you may have. Oh, on the water issue, I'm sorry, it was brought up. The on-site water is all private and will be maintained by the HOA. There was an existing water line that was put in that has been approved to use as the fire line for fire hydrants and so forth. The new domestic water line is a whole brand-new system that's in plan checked with the water department and has been submitted to city engineering for their approval as well. So someone had raised a question about the water system. And parking, just to address your issue, this is a HOA with CCNRs that requires the garages to remain for parking. That's 2 stalls. There's 2 stalls in every driveway. The driveways are long enough for 2 stalls. And then the on-site parking exceeds city requirements.
Very good. Anybody have any questions for the applicant?
This is not a proposed gated community, or?
It is gated, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gated on 2 sides. The top side being the active side, which would be 5th Street, and the bottom side is a cul-de-sac to kind of a little street to the track below, so it allows for fire turnaround and a fire access out the back of our community.
Nice.
Okay, anyone else have any questions for the applicant? All right, seeing none, thank you, sir. Do we have any public comments?
No public comments on this item.
Okay, with that, we can close public hearings and move to the commissioners. Commissioners, do we have any comments, motions?
I'll make a motion that we approve case number 22-140 and recommendations A through D.
I'll second.
Oh, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed, so 4-0.
All right. So I guess in terms of announcements, one, I wanted to thank everyone for their participation this year and the prior year for the Plan Commission. I think 3 of you guys have submitted essentially the citizen service form for next year. And so certainly look forward to hopefully seeing you guys again, but want to acknowledge and appreciate your guys' efforts on the planning commission, and hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season.
Me too.
And we will
too.
see you guys at the Christmas parade?
Yeah.
I know it's not a Lions event, but please come on out.
It's not a Lions event?
No?
Well,
not
who's
anymore.
doing it?
Don't get me started.
Okay, with that, do we want our next, well, would there be, when's our next meeting if there is gonna be one?
So we won't have any more for the end of the year. I mean, certainly unless you guys want one on the week of Christmas, I can throw one in. But most likely we'll have the next one starting bright and early in 2023. Probably the first week of January, we'll have a PC meeting, and then we got a few lined up kind of back to back for that. So certainly a big, fun, exciting year. The first one will be relatively light. I imagine we may have some new commissioners, and so there'll be a workshop provided as well, just to kind of help bring them in and get them ready to tackle all the fun planning projects we have in the pipeline.
Well, I want to thank the staff for this year. It's been a good year. Staff has always been on top of things and putting up with my, whatever. Anyways, I want to tell everybody, thank you very much for me, and I appreciate everything you do. Really, I do. He's a great engineer. We couldn't be so lucky. And to have a planning staff like Ben's got it, that's awesome. We couldn't be luckier. Okay, with that,
Is that your
commissioners?
goodbye speech?
Huh?
Is that your goodbye speech?
Yes. No, I don't think so. But anyways, again, thank you, gentlemen, ladies.
I concur with the chairman's comments.
I was
Thank you.
just gonna say, I second that.
We got a motion, 100%. You guys did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, have a
With
good one.
that, we can adjourn.
Yep.
You okay, man?